Hello everybody and welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione. This is the second race in round 3 of the Dadsco Sim Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione League here at Monza. So if you haven't checked out the first race, make sure you go do that. It was an interesting one and it was quite a good result for me. Unfortunately this one, I didn't realise prior to the race that the second qualifying we GT3 cars only had 4 minutes, so we only had 2 laps to put in a qualifying time, and unfortunately I screwed up both laps, so it means I'm starting at the back, right at the end, right at the back, with the GT4 cars. Now, I backed off quite a bit there from the GT4 cars because I didn't want to be right up their tail. I was very conscious of not taking any GT4 cars out. But I do end up going almost 3 wide, but I just kept my line and, let people go to and fro behind me, and then very patiently went into the chicane because I didn't want to screw up anybody. Bit of a touch there between a couple of the guys. And yeah, I just felt like I'm just going to make my way through the pack as safely and as quickly as I possibly can. It means it didn't end up being a particularly great race in terms of results for me, but I was still pretty happy with my pace, and I was pretty happy with how safe I was as well, if I'm completely honest. Going to the second chicane then, Rigaggio, I had to slow right down because the sort of GT4 car almost stationary on the chicane there. I didn't want to just smash into him, so I take it nice and easy. So I go through Lesmo. I think at this point I'm thinking probably going to take this guy down the straight, and I think that's what happens. I think I was quite close enough to the other guys to catch up. Almost hit the grass there. I was quite lucky I managed to stay on track there, but I want to give him as much space as I could, and yeah, come up to a scurry behind this GT4 Aston Martin. And again, I probably could have taken a bit more speed through a scurry, but I decided again not to get too far up behind them, and just he goes wide and I overtake on the straight down towards Parabolica. And then again, probably thinking, and that's a GT3 car who also started at the back, just overtaking me into Parabolica. But again, I wasn't going to fight it too much. We both need to get through the pack of GT4s. So there's no point fighting and battling because it's just going to affect both of our races. So just let him pass without too much effort. If I'm honest, I didn't really expect him to overtake me that soon, but he does, and that's fine. So yeah, lap 2. There's a few cars, GT3 cars off the track ahead. I take the chicane a little bit slower than the guy behind me, but I think again it's just I'm being probably overly cautious than I needed to be. But catching up the next pack of GT4 cars, the other GT3 ahead of me is going to be able to take at least 2 of them, I think, into this second chicane. He does, but he makes them brake. So I wouldn't say that's a particularly good move. Obviously if they were GT3 cars as well, then I could understand that move, but the fact that he actually made the pink car slow down through the chicane is not really ideal, especially since he doesn't gain any points by overtaking them like that, so you might as well wait. But there we are. This guy kind of squeezes me, which is really odd because he should have just stuck to his line, which is why I went that way, and then he really doesn't, and then that lets the GT4 behind me catch up, but he backs away because he knows I'm going to have pace going into this corner. So I was thankful for that. But I was a bit annoyed with this guy, if I'm completely honest. Because if you look at the replay, there's definitely a deliberate move of the steering wheel over to the right-hand side. And he doesn't gain any points by keeping me behind. There's no reason to keep me behind. We're in a different race. But yeah, he's battling me and defending against me and all this sort of stuff, and there's just no reason for it, to be honest. But anyway, we get past him safely. Like I said, I managed to keep my head on straight, not let it get to me. I had to slam my brakes on the straight where he's sort of cut in front of me, but there we are. So yeah, lap 3. Got through a good chunk of the GT4 cars now. I think there's 3 left to get through. So just those up the road to deal with, and then we're good. The other GT3 cars sort of ploughed ahead, managing to get past them relatively well. But like I said, I keep it tidy, keep it relaxed. I know I'm not going to be in for big points in this race, so no point pushing too hard. Here we go through Lesmo one more time. I actually can't remember what my best time was. Maybe if I put the HUD on. So my times aren't great at the moment. 1:59.9. I mean, that was the. To be fair, that was the lap where I had to slow right down for the GT4 car who cut across me. Yeah, so nice. Get past one, and then I think I decide I'm gonna get past the other one. Because maybe I should have made that move actually. I don't know. Well, actually, I don't affect him too much. To be fair, he's still able to keep his line. Because I stay on the inside, he goes out wide a little bit. I don't affect his line too much, so I'm okay with that. That was probably one of my riskier overtakes, but turns out okay. So back to this cam. So I think I've just got one more GT4 car to deal with now, which is yeah, Engel number 21. He's actually a decent amount ahead of me. So yeah, he got a really good race. I think it was his first GT4 win, which is cool. Oh, actually, I overtook him somewhere. Oh, sorry, yeah, that was the orange car at the end of the straight. I did overtake him. So yeah, I'm through the GT4 cars now, and that's the car 492. No, sorry, 77. 492 is me. Car 77, Hillier, who is next on my radar. Hillier is, I think, a touch slower than I am in terms of pace, but he can defend pretty well, actually. We fought at the end of the race in Kyalami, and he did a pretty good job of keeping me behind until the end of the race, so he can be difficult to overtake sometimes. But yeah, just trying to keep my pace consistent. I think at this point I'm lapping quicker than he is. Although I think he did have a bit of a mistake or an incident, so that's part of the reason. Let's speed this up a little bit. I think for the moment I'm not going to get chased much at the moment because I'm right at the back of the GT3 cars, so it's just GT4 cars behind me. Go through Parabolica. So this is coming close to halfway through the race. Obviously it's 10 minutes since the replay started, so it's about probably around something like 12 or so minutes is halfway. There you see, that is number 111, Neil, who's had a bit of an incident, go through the chicane, so we overtake him, and we go up into P22. So that's my first sort of GT3 place that I've managed to make. Obviously, through no real skill of my own, and just a mistake on his part. Hit a little bit too much curb probably going into that chicane, but I do take the chicane better than Hillier ahead of me. And there we go as we get to Ascari. The guy ahead of him is the guy who started at the back with me. Speaking English, 25. But yeah, as you can see, we're just about catching up at the end of this lap with Hillier. I think he makes a mistake. Yeah, he makes a mistake on Parabolica. I can't remember how we overtake him. I possibly on one of the straights. I don't think I'm quite close enough to make a lunge in this lap. Oh yeah, he goes straight on. So he misses his braking point, goes off cuts the chicane, and we're able to get past into P21. So yeah, made up effectively 10 or so places in total. Obviously most of those were GT4 cars, but you know, 2 places of GT3 cars. I mean, it was a good, I think it was a good, like, you know, we're a good 10 minutes in and I hadn't actually made that much progress, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, I would rather have a clean race than screw up a GT4 race and take a penalty, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, I'll repeat Parabolica one more time. Start lap 7. And it looks like we've got a decent amount of time. We've got like 3 seconds to make up. And we do make that up, to be fair. Take a bit of curb there, but actually a better exit through the first chicane. Rotafilio. And then Curve Grande and Roggia, I think. Yeah, not great through Roggia that time. Took a bit of curb and ended up going a bit wide, but I mean, other than that, I wasn't really making a lot of mistakes. I was pretty happy with my consistency. I was pretty happy with my consistency over the whole weekend, to be honest. It was just those 2 qualifying laps that I couldn't quite put in, which I think I put down to maybe a bit of extra pressure that I didn't expect to have, and also I don't think my tyre pressures were quite right on my qualifying setup. I thought it was the same temperature. There we go, we're doing 151s now. So I'm pretty happy with this pace, and I can see I'm making catching up with Speaking Leash slowly. So yeah, I can actually see Speaking Leash catching up with Ridge as well, ahead of him, car number 96, also in an Aston Martin. So we are catching the pack. The 2 guys that started right at the back with no qualifying pace. Go through Ascari one more time and down towards Parabolica. Yeah, so not a particularly interesting race for me, it has to be said. Like, once I got through the GT4 cars, there wasn't really much for me to do, as in clean air. There we go, just put 150.9 in, so getting towards you know, the fastest laps that I would like to have in the 150s. So this clean air is doing well for me, and I've caught up about a second and a bit to Speaking Leash in the last couple of laps, so that's good. Again, take that chicane really nicely there, and that puts me quite close to Speaking Leash as we head through Lesmo one more time. Yep, through Ascari, and I think I take this a little better. He does go a little wide, but that was good. Carrying enough speed through. But it's really Parabolica that makes or breaks a lap, I find sometimes, and the chicanes obviously. 156, so 150.6, sorry. So again, getting touch faster every lap, and you can see as I go into the chicane, getting very close. And now he's got to deal with the lapping the GT4 car. So we've now not only overtaken the GT4 cars, but now lapped them. And then, yeah, there we go. So let's roll that back a little bit. So again, through no real skill of my own, he goes deep. I think he probably shouldn't. He ends up in front of the GT4 car, goes deep into the corner, hits the sausage curb, and then I'm just able to sail straight past him. The sausage curb is pretty punishing. And then I just stick behind this GT4 car. I wasn't going to make any crazy moves. GT4 car drifts wide, and I'm able to just come sailing past. And then as long as I take this corner okay, then I'm happy that I'm going to be a good amount of time ahead of the GT3s behind me. And actually Neil gets through in front of the car behind as well. So yeah, up into P20 now. So I've made 3 places, really just by being consistent and not making too many mistakes. And yeah, I think I make 1 more place in this race, but like ultimately at this point I'm thinking I'm 5 seconds behind. I don't have long left, So just keep it consistent, keep it fast to the end of the race, and you'll come home in P20, which is only, you know, in the first race I qualified P18, so it's a couple of places off where I would have qualified perhaps, but not a great result. Obviously I want it to be better, but considering the bad qualifying I had, could have been a lot worse. So that was 152, but I did have to deal with the GT4 car and the other GT3 car having a bit of a crash. And let's ride on board normal speed for this final lap. Let's go around Curve Grande. Managing to just about get up into gear 6. Then just past the 150 meter board, yellow marker on the side, down into second. Go a little bit deep into there, unfortunately, but managed to sort of rescue it a little bit. I went down to first and slowed right down so they could take the second corner of the chicane a little bit better. So not a great corner there. And then again, I probably took the first Lesmo a little bit slowly. 50 meter mark, brake, turn in, power on early, and go out wide down the straight towards Ascari. Looks like I'm gonna finish P20, I think. I thought I finished P19, but I might be wrong. I might have finished P19 overall with penalties considered as well. So there we go, through Ascari, down towards Parabolica for the last time in this race. After the 30-minute race, the 20-minute race felt so short, I have to say. The 30-minute race, I think probably because I was riding in top 10, it felt very long and like very focused. And then this race was pretty casual and fairly plain. Oh, there we go. So I did come P19. Possibly, I'm not quite sure. There's someone left, which puts me up into P19 on the board for some reason. But yeah, there we go. So that was the second race on Monza. Not quite as exciting as the first one. And obviously a little bit shorter. It was a 20-minute race. And we just go off the side so that we can reset back to pits. But all in all, like, a pretty good weekend. I managed to... I think I did a fair amount of... Yeah, I managed to get through the GT4s and take a few places into the GT3. So pretty good considering I started Stone Cold last. And... you know, not that many places off some of the people that I'm battling with in the actual championship. So, again, fairly happy. Like, it was a frustrating qualifying, but I was happy after the race. I think that put me in the championship. I think I stay in around P12. So I'm doing well to sort of stay where I am, just outside the... Obviously, I'd like to get in the top 10, but we'll see what happens. Next week is Bathurst, Mount Panorama. And it's a one long 50-minute race, and I think the time multiplier is like 6 times, so that's going to be a pretty difficult race to make sure that, you know, keep tire pressures up, etc. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Very casual one this time, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.